RWBY Volume 7, Episode 12 with Friends Like These. This, of course, was the penultimate episode of the season. Another good long episode, which is nice. They're being very generous. We got 18 minutes this episode. And it was even another action episode. It was better than the last one. Honestly, I really enjoyed the fights. Like, they were all kind of split up and stuff, but they were all really cool. It was just good. It was a good episode, but right down the middle as well. The last one, of course, was like the James Ironwood episode. This episode could just be like dumbass decisions the episode because there is so much in here that I hate it. Like, I'll look back on this episode in future seasons. I'll be like, I'll look back on this as a great episode because it's a really good action episode. Living it now, though, I kind of hate it a little bit. I love the episode, but I also hate it because so many people in this episode are just stupid. And like, there's literally lists. It's not like that person did something that was dumb or this person did something that was dumb. There's a list of idiots in this episode. Unfortunately, the number one idiot is the dude that got himself killed because it's definitely Clover. Because not only was he the one who really ramped things up, because of course Robin's definitely number two because she was like, no, let's go ahead and do this fight. But it's definitely Clover because instead of being like, okay, you know, it was kind of too late because of course, you know, Robin kind of did it, but obviously Clover did literally nothing to slow things down. He was like, okay, they're talking. It's like, I'm sure. Oh, hold on a second. Well, looks like you're getting arrested, Crow. And he just stands right up. He's gonna arrest him, and then it's like, okay, he's about to get into a fight because obviously the first thing Crow does is like, Clover, you know, like, what are you doing? And he puts his hand on his sword. So then it's like, well, I have to arrest you. That's just the law. Like, I have to do what I'm told. I have to arrest you. You know, things are tough. You know, leaders do tough things. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. That's true. That's fair. But also, when you're not wearing the crown, sometimes you just got to do some smart stuff. And starting a fight inside of a carrier ship that holds, like, I don't know, maybe 10 people could fit in that thing. That's not really smart. Sure, it was wide enough for them to technically have like 30 seconds worth of a fight before, you know, Tyrion crashes the ship. But Clover was just like, I'm going to arrest you. And then when Robin's like, hey, don't do that, he's like, hey, relax. Don't make me arrest both of you. Like, that even made sense to even remotely say that. Like, I know he's lucky, which I noticed in this episode, it didn't help him. I noticed he had, like, a little, it wouldn't be a lucky rabbit's foot, but I never noticed it before. Like, he doesn't just have his little thing. He actually has, like, a little, you know, it's supposed to reference a lucky rabbit's foot. I never noticed that before. I was like, oh, that's cool. He's dead now, so who cares? But I was like, all right, this is really dumb. This is just a stupid, stupid idea to do any of this stuff. And then the thing that really made him dumb, even after that first part, was after they crash. This is where it's really funny. So they crash the ship because he was like, I'm going to arrest you, relax, or I'm going to arrest both of you. That makes sense. So then, you know, that's where stage 2 comes in, which number 2 dumb character is definitely Robin for actually starting the fight because neither of them wanted to listen like, hey, we're already going here. Why don't we just go and wait and, you know, we'll talk to Ironwood. It's not like they didn't know where he was going to be because they heard it on the phone. RWBY was like, he's going to use the thing, he's going to use the staff to raise the city up. So they knew exactly where they were going. They were already headed there. They got Tyrion locked up. They're on the ship. They're already flying there. Smartest thing in the whole episode was Crow being like, relax, both of you. Let's just go talk to Ironwood. We're already headed there. We know he's going to be at the staff. Let's just wait, get there, and then we go. All Clover had to do was just be like, all right. And technically that's when, you know, Robin's thing comes in. But Clover still could have stopped this. He still could have just been like, all right, hold on. Just don't leave my sight. Like, they could have totally made that arrangement. Like, all right, I won't arrest him. I won't arrest both of you. Because honestly, it was just funny that he would even say that to me. But I won't arrest you guys. Just please don't leave my sight. We will go talk to Ironwood. And, you know, we can hash it out. We wouldn't have a cool fight scene. But I prefer smart stuff than cool action, if I'm being perfectly honest. So that's the ship stuff. They get off the ship. Or it crashes. Robin's knocked out. The first thing he says, she's injured. If you give up, we can go and, you know, we can take her and she'll get some help. And then Crow's like, you know, then take you for the manipulative type. And it's like, it's astonishing that he would say something in the situation that they're in. The first thing he says is because he's following the rules. And it just doesn't make sense. Like, it's a little too far gone. Now, and it's funny to say this because we have literally two halves of this. Because for him, I was like, he should break the rules. Like, they're in a really crazy situation. He needs to calm down because he's being an idiot. They're flying, they have to fly up to space. It's not like they can just step out and then just be like, yeah, let's just jump. They have to be on a ship to even get there. So what's he going to do? Arrest them on the ground, and then they're going to be left to die anyway. I mean, the other ship does come in at the end, but it's like, what are you going to do? Just sit around and talk it out anyway? Like, just hold on and actually get to where you need to go anyway. But instead, they have the fight, the ship crashes, and then he's like, well, just let me arrest you, and then we'll go ahead and take her. So, of course, because of that, that was step number 2, because he does literally 3 things, and this is why I'm just like, it sucks that he died, and it's like the coolest death scene they've actually shown. Like, visually, it would be an effed up wallpaper, but it's screensaver worthy for sure. But that was only number 2. The third thing he did was Tyrion, of course, gets out. He does his little BDSM thing because clearly he's a masochist. He was just laughing it up like, oh man, I broke my finger, and he was getting off on it. And so he escapes, and he gets out. And so then they're fighting. So Crow and Clover fighting. I was like, okay, this is dumb, but of course that makes sense. They're it's just them there is before they know Tyrion's up. So they start fighting. And Crow's like, I'm not gonna let you arrest me. Of course not. That's crazy. We need to help people, and we need to do some other stuff. Or let's just talk to Ironwood and figure this out. So I was like, let's just relax and, figure some things out. But of course, they start fighting. So it's like, sure. They start fighting. Tyrion comes out, and Tyrion's like, hey, why don't we got a score to settle. Why don't we take him out, and then we can do that. And Crow doesn't do it. Crow looks over, and then is like, I'm not going to do that because, you're the bad guy. He's the good guy. I'm just going to fight you because I want to beat you. Instead of letting this happen, or instead of, once again, doing anything remotely smart, Clover is like, well, hold your horses. Hold on a second. Instead of fighting this dude, why don't I stop you? Why don't I literally whip your sword out of your hand so he can just stab you in the fucking face and poison you to death? I'm just going to whip that out of your hand so you can possibly get murdered. And then that leads to, of course, Crow being like, well, I have to take you down so that I can take him down. Because that's literally the only option he has left. Because he's literally trying to fight the villain. And Clover is like, stop. I'm going to make this a 3-way Mexican standoff fight. Which is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And so he's literally, it's like back and forth. Where it's either Tyrion in the middle because they both end up fighting him. Which is what should have been the thing the whole time. Or it's Clover fighting both of them. Because he just won't freaking just stop for a split second and be like, oh, villain, yes. And that was it. So it was just like, I'm literally sweating at how annoyed I am from just repeating everything that happened with Clover. But that was dumb. That was just dumb. I hated like that whole thing. Like, he's 3 tiers of just idiocy from him, and it was just insane. It just blew my mind how crazy it was. So unfortunately, he does get killed at the end with one of like the coolest scenes ever. Crow does like the he does the classic no and the red sun's rising and stuff like that. It's pretty epic. I'm sure he can find a way out of being blamed for Clover's murder, even though it's his weapon. Just be like, he could literally just lie and just be like, I doubt they could see everything from that ship, even though they didn't land anyway. They seemed to like fly right over them. So he could just be like, yeah, we fought. Or he could just make up a lie and be like, yeah, he stabbed him. Even if the truth could come out, if Tyrion said it later. All he would be doing is lying. Is like, are you going to believe the hero or the villain? I don't know. If people act as stupid as Clover did, they might just be like, no, Crow's a bad guy now. Who knows? But that was the big dumb thing. That was the biggest dumb thing for the whole episode. And that was like Clover's 3 levels of dumb before he ends up dying. And then, like I said, Robin was the one that kind of instigated it in the first place. But Clover had so many chances to just be like, man, I can just not fight. Or I can at the very least, when the villain's there, let's team up, take the dude down, and then we can fight each other after. Like, it was just insane. I could not believe that all that stuff ended up happening. So that's that. That's like the biggest dumb thing. So that was, so Clover number 1, Robin number 2 for that. I kind of want to give Crow number 3 for teaming up with Tyrion to begin with, but at the same time, I can't. I just can't at this point. With everything that happened, it's just like, he really didn't have any options. And it was just kind of a crazy, forgetful moment. And oddly enough, I don't know if it counts as part of his bad luck that it ended up happening, but it was just like, well, the only way he could win that fight was to leave his sword behind because he would have gotten to him faster. And so that's what he does, to win the fight. And then they have their conversation, and that's, when Tyrion does his thing. But That was just insane. And that's really only half the episode. So that was just crazy. I love the action in it, but like I said, choice wise, I was just like, this is dumb. That's just stupid. Like all of that was just dumb on Clover's side of the fence, just idiotic. And now he's dead, which is very unfortunate for him. But great fight scenes. I absolutely loved it. And then of course at least all the other stuff that I did enjoy. The one thing, like the two little mini points that are going to be fairly big in the finale, which should be pretty exciting, of course, is going to be Cinder versus Penny, which I can't wait to see that. And then Neo versus, Team, I'm still going to call him Juniper, but Team Juniper. And I don't know if Oscar's really going to fight or anything. We'll have to see how that plays out because he was clearly like kind of beat up. So he was in that fight. So he took quite a few hits. He was like very dirty and stuff. Both those scenes were really cool. Neo being in there, so we of course find out Neo was the one that kidnaps Oscar. Somehow he does end up making his escape from wherever he was, because when they think like, oh, it's Oscar, and Nora's like, hey, and then he comes running around the corner screaming. So somehow he ended up making his escape. And also he's the first person to ever land like a legit hit, not counting Cinder, but as far as like the heroes are concerned, he's like the first person to land like a real hit on Neo. And I don't know, that was another weird thing, also kind of dumb, because she literally just stood there and took it. For the character, that literally, like, her whole thing is that she, like, just dodges like it's the Matrix. She just took a solid punch from a dude that was running from, like, 20 feet down the hall, and he just punched her straight in the face, and she just stood there and, like, took the punch. And I was like, that was weird. That didn't make any sense whatsoever, that she would actually take that punch. Like, why wouldn't she just dodge and then just move him out of the way and then just take off because she had the relic? But it was still a cool scene, and I cannot wait to see them fight because I want to see what's going to happen. I kind of hope she doesn't lose just because it's Neo and I love her character, but we'll see what happens. So that was cool. I can't wait to see that fight. And then, of course, Cinder versus Penny, and then Winter trying to, get the powers of the Winter Maiden. And I forgot they had those machines where it's like, here's the little transfer thing. Because in my head, I'm like, oh, she has to run and kill this old woman. I think I even mentioned that. I was like, that's going to be like a crazy moment where she has to kill this old woman. And now we're in this situation, which is very reminiscent of Volume 3, where it's like, it's harsh, but I think she needs to kill this woman. Because every time it's like, all right, time to start transferring powers, it's always at the last second. And what happens? Like, oh, look at me, Cinder. Bitch with power, she comes in, beats everybody, and then she gets the powers of the Maiden. So I don't see, like, even though Penny has like laser beams made out of swords or however that works, I still don't think that that's gonna really do much. Like, Cinder still has the powers of a Maiden. I still think that they just need to make it quick, because it would, once again, it would be really dumb if it was like, all right, well, you hold her off, I'm gonna hop in the machine, which I feel like is what they're gonna do because it's gonna ramp up tension, even though that's like the dumbest thing ever. But those machines aren't that fast. We saw that in the fight. Like, we saw that in Volume 3, where it was like, clearly, those things aren't instantaneous. So if Winter jumps in this machine to be like, all right, you hold her off, then I'll hop in, that's going to be another dumb moment. But we'll see what happens next week. So I'm excited for the fight, but I am worried that they're going to do something stupid like that, where I'm like, I know it's messed up, but, like, you got to just kill this woman. Like, you have to kill this woman, because she's already unconscious, or however it is, if she's in stasis or whatever. Like, Winter just needs to take that sword, because she has a long sword, she needs to just stab straight through and kill the woman. And that's super harsh, but otherwise, Cinder's going to get have the powers of two maidens, and then what are they going to do? They're going to be screwed. And odds are that would mean that Winter gets killed off as well, because Cinder is not going to be like, I got my powers, I'm out of here. And of course, none of the heroes are just going to be like, all right, see you later. They always fight back, and then we'll have like another Pyrrha situation. And I hope they don't do that, because I feel like that would be really dumb, for the fact that it's like, all right, why would you get in the machine when it's going to take longer? And then, if that happens, it's just going to be obvious, like, they're going to die. Penny might escape because she's got jet boots, and she might shoot a laser into the sky and then just fly right out super fast. But I don't think they'll both survive if that ends up happening. So we have to wait and see. But I'm excited for that fight. And then, of course, we have Team RWBY versus the Aesops. We got another great song. I actually really like this song. I thought the other song, like in Ironwood's fight, was kind of just like, okay. This song I actually thought was really sweet. I loved all the action in it. And also, episode of first, because Oscar was the first person to ever hit Neo. Weiss, which is, holy crap, something's falling. Uh-oh. Oh, it doesn't matter, it's fine. Weiss won her first fight, which is great. She was trying to kill Marrow, by the way. I mean, I guess technically with their aura, you can take like any hit until it runs out. But, you can't have like a giant suit of astral armor like swing at somebody's head. But I guess technically with his aura, it would have just knocked him unconscious instantly and, knocked his aura out. considering the flames did it, which was pretty cool. Like, she did a lot of cool stuff in this episode. She used the one thing she didn't do, which I thought was really weird considering the character she was fighting. She didn't use her black glyphs to just slow him down, because I'm like, it's you plus you have a walking suit of armor. Just like pin him in a corner or just make a giant black, glyph on the ground or something, and it would have just stopped him. Or like she literally could have just done it when she uses like the wind to blow him into like a wall of death spikes. Once again, she was trying to kill the dude. Instead of doing that, she could have just blown him into the wall and then just had a black glyph, and then it just would have stopped him. And then like the suit of armor could have just put the sword down and just socked him straight in the head, and he would have been unconscious. So it was kind of weird. I was like, that would have ended the fight a lot faster if she just did that. But it was just, it has to be the way that it is. It was cool to see him use his powers, and that's one of the things. If Aesop's wasn't holding back, clearly they would have won. Because Mero could have stopped it in the very beginning, but he was like the only character who was like, hey, we're not actually gonna do this, which I really enjoyed for his character. And they're like, all right, and Harry's like, we aren't doing anything. It's up to them. We'll see what they do. But Mero could have just been like, stop. And then everyone would have been in slow motion, just, handcuffs, and they would have been done for. Like, that literally could have ended it. And also, I think Harriet could have done it too. Like, she was doing some stuff. I mean, she literally got handcuffed. Also, I don't know if this is really a first, because Ruby's done a lot of things with her powers that have, like, defied physics. But she was literally held down, and then was just like, nah, and then just went, and just, like, reversed it. And I was like, huh. Like, I know she's been in some weird situations, and she defies gravity with it, and physics as a whole with, like, she literally splits apart at times. So we still need to get a real answer on it. But I was like, I don't think we've ever actually seen her, like, being held down by someone, and then she just spirals right out of it anyway. And she didn't, obviously she didn't take, like, Harriet with her, and they both, like, spiraled around, which she can do. She just reversed it. Like, she was just like, oh, I know you have me literally pinned under you, and both my hands are behind my back. I'm just gonna, like, magic spin. And then she was behind her, and I was like, huh, that's really interesting. I didn't expect it to go that way. But she puts her in handcuffs, and Harriet's still basically whipping her butt. Like, she puts her in a leg lock, spins around her, and, like, it was insane. And I was like, man, it sucks that they're probably not going to be in the rest of the series, because Harriet would be such a cool character to see fight. But you also can't have, like, a super speed character. Well, I guess you could in this show, because everybody is, like, so insanely powerful that even if someone has super speed, it doesn't really matter. But Harriet was so cool in that fight. I was like, man, I wouldn't have been surprised. Honestly, when it got to the end, and it was like she was the last person, I was like, I'm not 100% sure that she's even about to lose. Like, even against all of Team RWBY, I was like, it looked like they were doing some crazy Flash stuff, because I was like, she might, like, phase through these handcuffs and just be like, surprise, I can run through walls and stuff, because it looked like she was ready to run through space and time just to punch RWBY in the face. And then, of course, she ran head first into a wall of ice. And she still kind of got up, but, she was just, it was like pure will, and then, she drops to the ground. I was like, holy crap, that was awesome. Like, she was really cool. And all the fighting during that whole scene was actually pretty awesome. Like, Blake and Yang, that was super cool. And that's where the music really kicks in. But Yang, like, punching the ground, like, that was so cool. Like, it was just a really cool looking scene. Like, her, we get to see her do her Super Saiyan mode. She hits the ground, and, she flies up. And then Blake's already in the air, and they do, like, a cross thing. And I was like, that's actually super cool. The way they did, I always forget the dude's name. I always forget which one is which. I think Elm is the woman, but I can't actually remember. But obviously, both of them. But they just destroyed the guy. Like, that was kind of effed up. Like, Yang spins in the air, and I'm like, ooh. Like, they slammed him so hard to the ground. I was like, all right, that's a little messed up. Like, that was a little bit harsh, but also super cool. We got to see him use, we got to see Yang use, like, her little detonators and stuff, and she throws the piece of rubble up to Blake, and then, Blake, like, puts them all on her back, which I was still curious about that. I was like, okay, I know she can do, like, her shadow moves and stuff like that, but I was like, if he didn't, like, open up the thing, could she have still done that? Because technically, if she's in an enclosed space, like, I don't know if it were, like, Ruby's thing where she was pinned down, technically, it's still open. So is it just, like, as long as she can see where she's going, she can just, technically, it's like, it's teleporting almost. So I was curious how that works, because obviously she was there and then she moved out. But if he didn't, like, open it back up, if he just had her, like, closed in, I don't think she would have been able to move. And I thought that was interesting. And so, of course, she shoots away, and then they're just in there. And, they mess the guy up, and they send him flying back, and then they take him down and have, like, the epic ending where he's in the ground, Yang still falling to the ground in slow motion. I was like, this is actually super cool. And then that's when the lyrics actually kick in. So I love the whole fight. Like, all the action was really well done. But, man, crazy episode. Love all the action. Like I said, hated just the dumbass decisions that were made in the beginning. And of course, the girls being like on this crazy heroic stance, I don't like it personally. Because I'm just like, tough choices do need to be made, and also them hiding the secret is really what led to this to begin with. Because it would have been like totally different options if they were just like, hey, this is what's happening from the very beginning. But if random secrets weren't coming out at the last minute, stuff like that wouldn't have happened. Like, things still would have gone crazy because obviously you have like the villains working behind the scenes, so things would have still been crazy. But they wouldn't have literally been like betraying each other, like, hey, we told Robin this secret when we didn't really know that she was on her side. Like, technically they just assumed. They didn't really know, and of course we knew because it was like, obviously she's gonna be a hero. She's in the opening scene fighting one of the villains. Like, she's gonna be a hero. So it's like, of course we knew, but technically in that realm of, the real world, their world, they didn't really know. They just made a really big assumption. And yes, they were right, of course. But they also told her this secret, this giant secret that totally could have screwed everything up before they decided to tell Ironwood the actual truth. Like, because they didn't know if they could trust him. So weird stuff, stuff like that is just like, I'm really not on their side. And I kind of, it was still a great fight, and I can't wait to see how the season ends and we get some great action and some great songs. But story-wise, I'm kind of hating the characters, like, at least a little bit. I'm kind of hating them because they're real hypocritical, where everything is just about the truth and this and that, and they're just they were lying their asses off like most of this season, and then they're super pissed when another, big secret that they chose to tell was like, I don't know if I can trust you guys because of this. And then they're just like, what? That's crazy. Of course you can trust us. But, they went like the whole season being like, I don't know if we can trust this guy. And it's just crazy. It's a whole bunch of madness led up to everything that happened. So I'm really not on their side. And it's just weird being like totally against the main heroes. Because I'm just like, I know they want to help people. And I get what they're going for. But they're being dicks about it. Because they're kind of the reason that it's this weird turmoil amongst all the heroes to begin with, because they were lying so much, or they weren't lying that much. They just kept that one giant secret, and then they're hypocritical about it at the end, where it's like, well, we told her this, and of course that was specifically Blake and Yang, but still they were a part of keeping the big secret overall. So a bunch of weird stuff led to this. So I'm like, I love it. I love the action. I love what we're getting to see, but I really just don't like our main characters right now because I'm like, I feel like it's kind of their fault. Obviously, the villains are going to do what the villains do, but they really could have changed it. Like, just communication. And it was weird how it just, the ups and downs of like, can we really trust him? I don't know if we can trust him. I don't know if we can really trust this guy. We got this giant secret, but can we tell him? And then they, like I said, it's only Blake and Yang, but still, they tell that secret in like a heartbeat. It took like maybe 5 or 6 episodes for them to be like, you know what, we can tell her exactly what's happening. But they still, I think, yeah, that was still before they even told, and I guess because that was RWBY's ultimate decision, I guess, but that was still before they decided to tell Ironwood the truth. So it was like, it's just crazy. It's been a wild season. It's weird. Like, I can't wait till the season ends so I can just talk about it just all the way through, because I want to do just one big video about everything they've done, all the lies they've been telling, or, the big secret they've kept, and just how weird it's been kind of watching the season play out. But it's going to be a good episode. Like, when I go through it, down the line, I'm like, that was a sweet action episode. It had a really cool song. I love all the fight scenes. Beautiful ending for a character, and like that ending shot is black, white, and red, like some Sin City stuff. I loved it. It's fantastic. But like I said, living through it as an episode, the newest episode, all I can think of is like, wow, I kind of hate them, and Clover was so stupid, but I still enjoyed it. So that's ultimately, I still enjoyed it. Great action episode. Of course, we'd love to know what you guys thought about this. And this is a crazy review, I feel. It's just like, I just feel weird with this one. But I loved it, but just so much dumb was in this episode. But I still love the action. So much good action. So much dumb. But still, I want to know what you guys thought about it. So please, by all means, put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about this episode. Your least favorite parts, of course. And naturally, next week is the ending. I want to know your theories. What's going to happen? What do you want to see happen? What don't you want to see happen? For me, it's real up in the air. It's hard to say with like how this season's been. I just don't know what to really expect. So it's just up in the air. Like, I want Winter to, like, Winter literally has to kill this woman, because I feel like there's no way that machine's going to be fast enough for Penny to hold off Cinder for that long. I just don't think it's possible. If it is, that's fine. But realistically, if I was in that situation, I'd be like, please hold her off. And it's just a darker situation to be in. But it's like, you just have to kill this woman so you can get the power. Because otherwise, you're dealing with a woman who has the powers of 2 maidens. And that's not something they can defeat. They're already dealing with an immortal woman. Then they have Cinder. They just can't do both those things. So I don't know what's going to happen. But we'll see. But like I said, want to know what you guys thought about this one. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.